Welcome back to the next stage of the build here at 3R Guitars. Doing this with Lyre Mandolin. I think you can see, I'm spending, the odd moment sanding kind of thing, just making it better all the way around. But it's one of those things that you just can't do continually. It's just too much of a ball ache, basically. So I'm putting in different jobs as we go. Like I say, the last couple of days I've built that fancy lyre tailpiece sort of thing, and today I thought I'd do a little bit of work on the neck. The problem with this thing is that you can see that once the neck is glued in, access to it is quite difficult to do stuff. Even like cutting the nut slot and stuff like that would be really difficult. Now, I haven't stuck it in yet. No, it doesn't feel like that. There we go. So we got the neck out. I think the next bit I'm going to do is put the tuner holes in. I didn't quite know which tuners to use. Obviously, you can't have tuners that stick out sideways like guitar tuners, because it wouldn't get past the lyre arms. So they've, when you look at the original, you can see they're most probably like a friction tuner that the tuner thing is behind, like a banjo sort of thing. So I didn't want to use friction ones. I wanted some kind of gearing on it. Just makes tuning a lot easier and playability a lot easier. So I've got these banjo tuners that I'm going to use, and they just go straight in through the back kind of thing. So that's what I'm using. I got these off Amazon. I have to confess, they're amongst the cheapest ones. I think they were something like sort of £17 a set of 4, and you need 2 sets obviously for a mandolin, so you've got eight there. But they had quite good reviews, so I'm happy with that kind of thing. I mean, like everything nowadays, they're probably from China, but we'll risk it and see how things go, sort of thing. So the next thing I've got to do is position where the tuners go on the headstock kind of thing. You can see that the first, they don't like line up. You've got this string going to this tuner actually touches that the tuner before it, sort of thing. I don't really know if you can avoid that other than putting the tuners in a bit more inboard, sort of thing, but I don't know whether I want to do that, because I think it would look a bit odd. So I'll probably just do them like the original kind of thing. I think it looks nice. The other thing I see that I've done a bit wrong is, see these pointy bits on here, I've kind of made those pointy, sort of thing, whereas on here they're more rounded. I'm not sure whether I've actually cut too much material away. I might revisit the shape of the headstock there to make it more like the original, though I don't think it's a big issue really. I might just round them off a little bit, see how it goes. So what I'll do now is I'll get on and mark up where these tuners are going, and then go from there. You can see as a starting point here, the first string is almost a straight line, pretty much a straight line to the tuner. So I think I'll start with that, and then wherever that distance is away from the edge, I'll just put a line around and put the other 4 in equally spaced, sort of thing. So I think it'll be quite easy. But I'll just have a little measure up and see if I can round these off to make it look a bit more like the original. Well, I've been messing about with a few dimensions. That is basically a half-size photograph, so I can just double any dimension off there, and these measure to the first tuner about 40 millimeters, sort of thing. So that's where I've put the first one, and then it was a matter of just fitting everything in. So I think you can see the centres there and the line that I'm going to put them on. So if you put a washer, this is the washer that comes with the tuner sort of thing, and that will just fit quite nicely on there. So that's what dictates the spacing from the edge of the headstock to the centre line of the tuner sort of thing. And with the back on the tuner, that's 16 millimeters diameter, and this is like 9 millimeters from the edge, so this will still fit inside the edge kind of thing. So I think that will be, I would ideally probably like it a bit further stepped in, but then I can't because it goes over the truss rod hole sort of thing, which I don't want, so I'm stuck to there, but I'm happy with that kind of thing. When you scale these drawings kind of thing, obviously you've got a bit of a problem with this because the headstock is tipping back, so the dimensions measure shorter than they actually are because it's not a full on kind of photograph kind of thing. But you can kind of judge it because first of all I measured the spacing between the tuners on the original at something like 22 millimeters, but you know that it's tipped back, so it's going to be a bit more than that, so I'd guess it's an inch, you know. So I've done these at 25.4 millimeter spacing sort of thing. So we'll get measuring up what drill size we want and drilling holes in the headstock, and I'll come back to you when I've done that. Okay, let's get these headstock holes done. Even though I measure the drill with a that I need, it's got to fit this smaller diameter shaft inside the headstock. The bit that screws in from the top actually goes inside that, so this is the diameter you've got to drill to. Even though I measure it with the old vernier gauge and stuff, I still do a test hole, and you can see that fits really nicely in there sort of thing, so we've got the right size drill. So we'll get drilling them out now. I like to centre pop them first as well, just to, you know, with bigger drills sometimes you can't see the point kind of thing when you're drilling, so it's got those 4 things dotted now. You want to make sure that you're not going to drill them in at an angle sort of thing, so flat bit of wood kind of thing. Actually I'm going to use a bigger one. Okay, so we got our first hole done. I mean, I don't want to drill all 8 yet. Just have a test first and see. Right, on the back, everything looks good there. We got a nice little gap there, and on the front it's looking good. If you drill 8 holes, you've got 8 to repair if you bugger it up, but I'm pretty happy with that sort of thing, so we'll get and drill all of them now. Right, here we go. We've got the 8 holes done. When I'm drilling through, I don't put a lot of pressure on the drill when I'm breaking through to the back. Some people will drill like a centre hole and then drill through from both sides. I prefer to just drill through from one side, but I don't put a lot of pressure on when I'm going through, so I don't split the back out. And as you can see, I just burst through the back and then drilled in from the other side as well. So there we go. Get back to the bench and carry on. Well, to be honest, that probably wasn't my smartest bit of work then. Narrowly avoided catastrophe. I'll explain why. Firstly, for some reason this row of machine heads was further to the outside. It just must have been my scent line that I put down and incorrectly positioned. Not a problem. I mean, I basically, the holes on this side, I just relieved them on the inside so the machine heads could be moved in a little bit. It has no consequence because these washers cover the elongated holes, no problem. But where my disaster nearly occurred, I thought, well, I'll bolt the machine heads on anyway to give them a test. They have a little locating pin on the bottom of these to stop them rotating in the hole, even though they're bolted in. But here they are on the back, and I thought, okay, I'll position them there an inch apart, and whatnot. Fine. What I forgot was the size of the tuner button, and I've been very lucky because I've got just a nice little gap between them enough, but I'd have only had to have drilled those holes a couple of millimeters closer together, and I'd have been in a bit of a dilemma there. I'd have probably ended up filing down the tuning buttons sort of thing, but yeah, anyway, got away with that one. Phew. So they work nicely now, and that's what they look like on the back. So a bit bulky, I think, but there's no alternative if you want a geared machine head. I mean, aesthetically, I'd have rather put the friction ones on because they're smaller and neater and just look the right sort of thing for the job. But I didn't want friction tuners, not with an 8-string instrument and keeping it in tune if you're playing it. So I'm happy to make the compromise and go go with these banjo ones. Banjo machine heads are 4:1 gearing, so they give you know, enough of sensitivity to tune up quite good, sort of thing. So I'm happy with that now, and you know, from the front, you know, they're all positioned the same as the original instrument, sort of thing. So what I'll do now is, there's enough room here just to get a truss rod cover in, which I'm not sure what I'm going to make that out of, whether plastic or this wood. Probably this wood to disguise it, and I want to also get the top nut on. So rightio, be back again later. Hi there again. I've been working on like a little truss rod cover to put on here. Can also see the shitty job I made of drilling those holes for God knows what reason. You can see where I elongated the holes. That's pissed me off a little bit, I must admit. I don't know what I was doing, but the fortunate thing is you can just actually see the mark of the washer and the washers that go round there, so they hide the holes. I mean, there's no consequence of that cock up, which is lucky, but it just annoys me. But anyway, I'm looking at this truss rod. Obviously the original didn't have a truss rod at all, so I've got a bit of a dilemma. I started off, I cut a little bit of tortoise shell because I thought that was plastic, tortoise shell, because I thought that might look nice. Plonked it on there and I thought, nah, it just looks crap. So I went to the same material I used to do the star and the crescent moon kind of thing, and put that there, and I thought, that looks, you know, that doesn't look bad at all. But the scraps of veneer that I kept from doing the headstock face, I found this like chevron bit in there that I think looks quite nice. So what I'm going to do, I think, is stick the chevron stuff over the plastic, the pearl plastic, and then kind of cut it round the edge and leave a bit of the edge of the plastic shown. I think that will look quite nice. I'm never that keen on, a lot of people do really thin wood truss rod covers. You know, they'll cut a thin bit of wood and sand it down and put it on, but they have a tendency to cup quite badly, sort of thing, in some cases. So I'm going to use the plastic anyway as the undercoat, sort of as the undercoat, and glue this on with super glue, and we'll see how it goes. The stuff I could never tell with this is if there's a plastic like cover over it. But anyway, I'll have a look, and I'll get back to you when I get onto some gluing. Okay, quite a quick job there. That's the little truss rod cover I've made so far now, with that like chevron-y thing pattern in it. So that's what it looks like currently fitting on there, which I don't know, I just feel, yeah, it looks fine, but it looks a bit bulky. So what I'm going to try and do is like file a chamfer around the edge, just so you can see a little bit of the pearl, sort of thing. Bit like, you know, the black white sort of edges to pick guards and stuff. And we'll see what that looks like. Hopefully it won't look horrible and I haven't wasted my time, but you never know. But I think it will look, I think it'll just make it look neater. So what I'm going to do is just put a piece of sandpaper on the edge of my flat bandsaw table, and just rub the thing on there. So we'll just see how it goes. let's just have a go then and have a look. See what happens. Ah, that's what I was kind of hoping, that it would give a nice straight line on the edge, and I actually think that looks quite attractive. So I'll try and get that now all the way round, and then yeah, I think that'll look really nice. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. So we'll try and get that consistent all the way around with a bit of careful sanding, and see what it looks like. Thank you. Well, here we go. I mean, I think that looks a lot more elegant than just a flat plate kind of thing, just with an edge around it. Gives it a bit of a, I don't know, a hint of modern and old kind of thing. So that's what it will look like on there, which I think is, you know, I mean, I don't want a truss rod cover at all. I'd prefer to not have one like the original, but that's not going to happen. So that's what it's going to end up looking like, which I'm fairly happy with that. Looks nice and elegant, so we'll stick with that. I'll just do the usual, put a little screw up on the head there, try and find the smallest I can, like a tuna screw or something, so it's not too obvious. Well, it will be obvious, but yeah, so we'll get that drilled and fitted now, and then that will be the a bit more of the neck done. Well, here's the truss rod cover then, with a little screw in it, stuck on there. Next job will be the top nut. I don't think I've actually got anything I could make the top nut from. Really need a bit of bone that I haven't got, so struggling a bit with that. I'll have a look around, but I think, you know, I'm quite happy with that truss rod cover sort of thing. I think it looks quite neat. So yeah, we get into a position now. I think once I've got a top nut sorted out, we can get the neck glued in, and then start finishing stuff. One thing I've found, one of the problems, I was going to buy a pre-slotted top nut and stuff, but this has got a 30mm wide top nut, and every mandolin top nut I've found online for sale or whatever is 28mm. So I'm going to have to make my own, which is fine. But yeah, we'll have a look around, see what I've got, and go from there. Well, hi there, back to the 3R Guitars workshop and the Lyre Mandolin build. As you can see, this is looking quite improved now. After hours and hours and hours of sanding, there's still plenty of bits on it that need attention, but it's looking a little bit better now. But it's almost like a thankless task, because the more you sand, the more little divots and faults you see, kind of thing. But yeah, it's just one of those things you've got to do, and can't say it's the most enjoyable part of building something. Regarding the finish on this, the original was finished with like a shellac, which is basically like a French polished kind of thing. It's a rubbed on finish. I've never done that before, apart from with an oil kind of thing, and it's not a process I enjoyed very much, I must say. And I'm just not that familiar with it. I mean, if I was doing a guitar, and you know, I'm used to the shape and how it would go and all that kind of thing, I'd be happy to give it a go. But on this, the jury's still out, but I am almost tempted to go with my more familiar process of doing a finish with cellulose lacquer. I like cellulose lacquer. I've used it all my life, and and I know what I'm doing with it, and you know, if I get problems with it and things like that, I can easily rectify it. I'm a bit afraid of doing this with shellac in case it goes wrong and then I have to clean it all off, and so anyway, I'm still thinking about it. I mean, you know, the next step really is we're getting pretty close to gluing the neck on now, sort of thing, but the next thing I want to do is the inlay around here. Again, I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to copy the original. This is the one of them, the one that I'm generally not copying, and I don't particularly like all this inlay around here. I think it looks a bit like a Christmas decoration rather than a musical instrument. Just personally, I'm not keen on all the cherubs and all that kind of thing. Struggling to find a picture of the other one. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, you can't really see very well on this one, but it's just basically got two rings of something or other, and I kind of much prefer that. I'm not sure whether to go for my own design round there. I mean, I've done quite a lot of changes to this, you know, with the neck angle and things like that, so I'm again undecided whether to follow the original or do something of my own, sort of thing. The problem you generally buy, let me lead you again. You can generally buy the what they call purfling. If I just lick that there, you can see what it's like. It's a nice chevron kind of thing, this one. This wouldn't be very conducive to bending round a tight corner though, so I'm not going to use this, but this is the sort of thing you can buy. I mean, just since after COVID, it just seems to be so difficult getting this stuff, and you know, if you can get it, it costs a bloody fortune, and in addition to that, you have to wait ages for it. So I think what I'm going to do is make a simple dark light dark kind of banding sort of thing, and then going to use that. So that's the next thing we'll do. We'll have a go at making something like that, so I'll get you back when I'm doing that. Well, to make that banding I was talking about, what they call purfling, you know, for intricate inlays, I always buy like a pack of these sheets of veneer, one dark, one light. This is walnut and this is maple, and the nice thing is you can make your own purfling strips up, and it's nice because, you know, you can make the width what you want by laminating as many of these as you want. So what I've done here is I've cut out like one length of maple and four of walnut, and if you clamp them together and glue them, you know, you can get like a nice, you know, a nice looking purfling, and you can do it to the, you know, to the size you want, sort of thing. So you know, to me that looks quite nice. So I'm going to stick with, if I glue these together, then I can cut some thin strips out. I'm not sure whether to add another maple in there. I think I might, just to make it. Let's do that and I'll bring you back. I've got two scraps of wood here with I've just taped them up, and I'm just going to use these to clamp that veneer between, like that. And the reason for the tape being on there is that the veneer is so thin, the glue sometimes weeps through the grain and you end up with the right thing being stuck. So it's just a simple thing now of well, I think you get the picture of what's going on there. Okay, good morning and welcome back to 3R Guitars, this mandolin lyre build. We're at this stage now, and I guess I'm sort of getting to that point where I want to glue the neck on and then continue with the sanding ready for apply and finish. The last thing I've got to do before gluing the neck on is doing some kind of rosette around this hole. I think I said yesterday in one of my videos, I didn't, of the two existing ones of these instruments, I didn't like the darker one because it had a lot of pearl inlay and cherubs and things like that, which personally I didn't like. Looking at the lighter one, I did find a closer picture of the rosette around the sound hole, and it's basically two bands of herringbone, basically. Well, not double herringbone, single herringbone like the chevrons kind of thing. I haven't got any of that banding, and I've got a bit of a problem with that in that I think my top carve is slightly different from the original. This like curve here running down is much steeper on the original, so there's a bigger flatter area around the sound hole sort of thing. And I think if I try and put two bands in, one of them is going to have to go down this slope and back up kind of thing a little bit, and I think that will look a bit wobbly sort of thing. So I went all night actually sketching, watching the telly, watching the Olympics and stuff like that, trying different things, sort of art deco-y looking things, and I thought, oh no, this is not really period for art deco, it's too early sort of thing. And then I finally thought, you know what, like, just keep it simple, the thing's fancy enough as it is. I don't want to change too much from the original, and I don't want to go too fancy, because I mean the whole thing is quite bloody different anyway. So my idea is I'm just gonna cut one circle sort of thing around, or one oval around, because I haven't got room for two. I think if I try and do two very close together, I'm going to end up splitting the wood and could end up with a bit of a mess. So I'm just going to do one for now, put that in, see what it looks like, and then I might embellish it a little bit. I was thinking actually about like triangles kind of thing. I don't know if you can see I've drawn light triangles on there. Might try something like that, but let's start off simple with one oval around it and that. Now yesterday I made up some dark light things. I did the wide one with 5 strips of veneer, 6 strips, 2 walnut on each side of 2 maple in the middle. This is quite stiff, but I don't know what it will be like, but I actually quite like that. But I was worried about that being a bit thick, so I did a single one as well. So this is just 3 strips glued together, so I've got a choice. This bends very easily, and yeah, I think it's just going to be a matter of experimenting, sort of thing. Yep, so we'll go from there. I've just grabbed some commercially available stuff of this that I've lying about, and you can see that this is the wrong way round. It's white, dark, white sort of thing, white, black, white. But I've checked the width, and it's the same as the thinner one I've done here. This is, both of them are 1.5 millimeters thick. In fact, this is ever such a fraction thicker. So I don't quite know. We'll just get rocking and rolling. Just going back to this stuff that I've got, like the original was kind of half of that. If you imagine, instead of it being like chevron going sort of both ways, it was just going one way. So I tried bending this to see if I could use this, but it was hopeless. As soon as you started bending it, like the edges started puckering and stuff like that. So that's never going to work. So that can go on the pile for another project. So we'll get like cutting this into nice strips, and then go from there, because I think I'm going to end up using the thin stuff. I don't think the thick will bend, though I do quite like the thick actually. So hopefully this might, but we'll give it a go. Let's cut a couple of strips of it anyway. So yeah, to cut this stuff, first thing I do is put a sheet of sandpaper on a flat surface like the bed of my bandsaw here, and just rub over the top to make sure that edge is flat. I prefer actually to use something a bit thicker than a ruler, because you just get better hold of it, sort of thing. Brand new scalpel blade. And just basically go really light with pressure on it. You want to cut it, say that's the thickness of the commercially available, or the depth of the commercially available stuff, so something around that, but go really light with the pressure on it when you cut, just to do the first few strokes. Otherwise you'll wander along the grain and you won't get a straight edge. So keep it really light first of all, and then just keep going. Nearly there. Okay, so we've got one strip out now, and it's perfect, just like the commercially available stuff. Actually like having small victories like that kind of thing. Like I say, it's just after this COVID stuff, getting just bits beforehand that just used to be so easy to get. Now you're waiting, like, you know, even if you can find it. What was I looking for the other day? It was something really simple that years ago I could have bought for, not years ago, 2 years ago, I could have bought and got delivered in 2 days. And I was looking around for a particular part, and I looked on all these sites and stuff like that. Oh, available from October or something. And I'm like, oh, holy crap, you know, something that was there. Let's cut a thin strip out now. One reason why I like using a much thicker bar is you get more of an even pressure on top, because even if you use like a ruler and you push down on it, what will happen, the scalpel will find a grain line and push the thing around. So anyway, let's get a thin one cut out. We can like tell the difference then. So we've got a thin one and a thick one now cut. What I'm going to try and do next now is see how easily both bend, and see which one will be the likely suspect to do the... I mean, I think we'll only actually need one. One other thing to mention here as well is that, you know, when you do these things, don't forget you've got the neck covering the top. So that's where you want to put any joints in, or, you know, you don't even have to bother actually. You can start, you know, you can do it with like a 1/2 inch gap if you want. It doesn't matter, the neck covers it, sort of thing. So that's where you want your bodge area, if you like. So there we go. So we'll have a look now and see how well these bend, and then go from there.